So let's.
Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today I'm proud to bring you the UFO entity ENIGMA. And we have a wonderful bunch of panelists with us today. We have the one, the only Tillie Treadwell.
Hello, everyone. Merry morning or magical midnight to you. It's a joy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And we have Setna West, also known as Michael K. Waterman.
Uncle Judson Airball, how are you?
Very good. Then we have Tim Swartz, the legendary Tim Swartz.
As we always used to say, a legend in my own mind. But hi, Hercules and everyone. Thank you for having me on tonight.
In our minds as well. So it's going to be on your mind, Tim. And last but not least, the one, the only Nick Curto.
Hey, everybody, this looks like a good party to me. A good party tonight. And we like good parties.
Yes, indeed, we do. So tonight's topic is cosmic or celestial lions. And our panelists are going to explore this topic from several different angles so we get a greater picture. So Setna West, you bring us the enigma of the Sphinx.
Yes, and I'm going to do that walking like an Egyptian, okay?
I'd like to see that.
Okay, we know that from earliest times in Khemet, Egypt, the Egyptians worshipped many different animal-headed gods. One of the most powerful ones was Horus, and Horus in this form comes as a lion and is the Sphinx, and he's the protector of the entire nation, which I believe is why that sculpture was so huge. Originally, it did not have the head of the pharaoh Khufu on it. It had originally a rather large lion head, which as pharaohs came and went, became different entities. And so that statue, the Sphinx, became the pharaoh's head. So if you look at it, it has a very tiny head and a very big body. So that's kind of weird, but that's how they did things. We know also in bringing it into the Olympian energies that the Sphinx was very important in Greece as well as Egypt. You have Oedipus Rex, who's Oedipus, who's talking to the Sphinx and learning its riddle so that he can proceed with his life. I don't think he listened very well because, as you know, he ended up killing his father and marrying his mother, which was kind of messy.
In Greek mythology and mysticism, if you try to avoid your fate, you wind up doing the very things that bring it about.
Well, the Sphinx did warn him. A wonderful thing with the Sphinx was Thutmose III. That was in the middle of the 18th dynasty. Thutmose, for some reason or other, and I don't know why, because he burned to crisp, fell asleep between the paws of the Sphinx. But it was covered mostly almost up to its shoulders in sand. And Sphinx, he said to him, "If you will uncover me, I will make you pharaoh." And so he sought out to dig out the Sphinx, the paws, the back, the whole thing. And indeed, he became pharaoh of Egypt. He was after his aunt, who was also his sister, which is strange, Hatshepsut. And he became the pharaoh and ruled for a very long time, won many battles, and he attributes that to the great Sphinx. So the lion in Egypt has been very important for royalty and also a show of military arms and protection. I have something from the 25th dynasty, which is a head of the goddess Sekhmet. She is a lioness. She's a very powerful goddess. She is protection. She also fights against disease, and they say that she came from around the area of Orion's belt, that she just walked down onto the earth. The interesting thing about her was that she's originally the goddess Hathor, the goddess of love. But like many other ancient creation myths, Ra, the father god, saw that humans were not behaving themselves too well. So he took his daughter Hathor with the magical gods Thoth and Ptah, and they put on a mask, a lion-headed mask, onto Hathor, and she became a very powerful warrior goddess, and she got a bit out of control. She came down and she literally made the Nile red with blood. And so Ra said, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" Or "Oh my me, what am I doing?" And he got the two magical beings, Ptah and Thoth, and they got her drunk. They made a potion with, well, I guess you'd call it red beer with tomato juice or something, and other spells. And she drank it. She got drunk. They dragged her back up to the celestial temple, I believe on a spaceship, because they said that a gigantic disc came down onto the earth, and those two beings, who were shaped like baboons at the time, dragged this poor drunken lion-headed goddess back onto, I guess, their spaceship, and went back into the great shrine of Ra, like a control room, as it were, took off the mask, put it back in its case, and Hathor said, "What's going on here?" Completely did not know what was going on. The mask, the lion-headed mask, changed her entire personality. Oddly, Hathor normally is the goddess of love. She is the precursor to Aphrodite and Venus.
Wow. And you identify with the lion. You've proclaimed yourself a lion on more than one occasion.
My midheaven in astrological symbols rests in Leo. And although I am a Virgo, and we're going through a Mercury retrograde, which is not good for Virgos, my Leo midheaven protects me from bad things. So nothing too terrible has happened this time. And I'm going to watch what I say, because we've got another 5 more days. And by the way, I just want to say one thing. Today would have been my father's birthday. He would have been 93 today. So I wanted to wish my father a happy heavenly birthday.
Happy heavenly birthday.
And thank you. So is there anything else I can say to you that you have questions about regarding my Egyptian lions?
Your wisdom is sufficient to me. Does anybody else have any questions to ask Setna?
I think it went very well.
Now, I just
well,
wanted to add to that. Michael, I so love listening to you. I learn every single time so much
thank
I
you.
never really knew about before. And it's always such a pleasure. Just wanted to say that.
Well, it's been a long time, and I am now in Savannah, GA, which I love. It was a very important movement. And also, this lines up ironically. If you go longitude and latitude of the sky, the magical energies of Savannah sit in Leo. So I was meant to be here. I am now their wizard lion, I suppose. And I thank you very much, Nick. It's nice to see you again. You look amazing, by the way. You look 25 years younger. What did you do? Go in the fridge?
Oh,
You
we're
look
going to be
really
such good
incredible.
friends, such good friends. So close, so close. By the way,
You
Michael,
look,
the check is in the mail. Thank you.
oh my goodness, it better have more zeros.
And now we must move on. Thank you very much, Setna. And I must mention that I'm starting something called the Lions of Olympus, and Setna is one of my wizards. So I'm looking forward to having a very productive and creative adventure there. And you're all welcome, by the way.
I would
Well,
love to
thank
learn
you.
more about it.
And you are next, Tillie Treadwell. Tillie's going to go over the occult significance of lions. And that's to me, that's a phenomenally fascinating topic.
Yes.
Fabulous. Let's get to it. Throughout the annals of time, the lion has stood as a regal and imposing creature, its majestic presence captivating the human imagination. Beyond its physical allure, the lion has held a profound and intricate place in the realm of occult symbology. The lion's association with royalty and power is a common theme that transcends cultural boundaries. In ancient Egypt, the lion was revered as a sacred symbol of the sun god Ra, embodying the divine masculine principle and the fiery essence of creation. The pharaohs, considered the living embodiments of Ra, often adorned themselves with lion regalia and sought to be associated with the lion's strength, courage, and authority. The magnificent Sphinx, with its lion's body and human head, guarded the entrances to ancient temples, posing riddles to those seeking wisdom and enlightenment. Beyond its solar connections, the lioness held a significant place in Egyptian occultism as a symbol of fertility, protection, and motherhood. The fierce and devoted nature of the lioness was admired and emulated, and she was often depicted as the guardian of the underworld, nurturing and guiding the souls of the dead. The lion's duality, encompassing both the fierce masculine and the nurturing feminine, resonated with the complexities of the human experience and the eternal dance between creation and destruction. In Greek mythology, the lion's symbolism was further enriched by its association with the mythical creature, and please forgive me if I butcher this name, Nemean lion. Did I get that right, Hercules?
Did well, yes.
Awesome. This formidable beast possessed an impenetrable hide, making it a formidable adversary for the heroes who dared to challenge it. Hercules, or Heracles, the epitome of strength and heroism, was tasked with slaying the lion as one of his 12 labors. By overcoming this fearsome creature, he not only demonstrated his physical prowess, but also claimed the lion's symbolic power, donning its invulnerable hide as a cloak of protection and strength. Aside from specific cultural assignments of meaning, the general symbolic meaning of lions seems to relate largely with the idea of strength. I believe that there are different types of strength personally, and I adore the lion because, in my estimation, the lion represents both physical strength and mental strength, specifically subconscious resiliency, self-awareness, and free will choice. It could be argued that if someone is lion-hearted, their true subconscious essence or core is brave and fair, though, of course, these concepts are extremely subjective in nature. It is a well-established fact that the lion is a nocturnal animal, and as the night is said to represent the subconscious realm, the lion is therefore a mascot of dominion over one's subconscious. I think that these details serve collectively as a symbolic reminder of the importance of creating and attaining internal balance, self-discipline, and objective judgment. The lion experiences and views its world brilliantly in both the sunlight and the moonlight, and I believe that this is a reminder to exercise balance and fairness, seeing from multiple points of view where at all possible, for the health of oneself and the community. As well, the lion's roar has always carried a profound spiritual significance in occult traditions. It is said to resonate with the primal frequencies of the universe, evoking feelings of courage, strength, and the awakening of dormant powers. In various spiritual practices, the lion's roar is used as a meditation tool, a catalyst for transformation and an invocation of the divine. It is believed to clear away fear, negativity, and spiritual blockages, enabling the seeker to connect with their higher self and the universal energies at hand. In tarot, the lion card is a powerful emblem of strength, courage, and leadership. It often appears in situations where a decisive step is needed, encouraging the individual to confront their fears, assert their authority, and take bold actions towards manifesting their desires. Within alchemy, the lion was associated with the sulfur principle, representing the fiery and transformative aspects of the alchemical process. Its golden fur was seen as a symbol of the pursuit of enlightenment and the transformation of base metals into gold, which is in alchemy considered the ultimate symbol of spiritual perfection. Alchemists believed that the lion's energy could ignite the spark of transformation within the human soul, leading to the rebirth and the renewal of the individual. The lion's mystical symbolism has also found its way into various occult practices and traditions, such as Wicca and the Kabbalah. In Wicca, the lion is often associated with the Leo zodiac sign, representing leadership, creativity, and self-confidence. It is seen as a symbol of the masculine aspect of the divine, balancing the feminine energy and fostering harmony within the spiritual realm. In the Kabbalah, the lion is connected to the Sephira of Keter. And again, I apologize if I have butchered these names. I probably have.
They're pronounced in different ways, Tillie.
Are they?
Keter, Kether, they've been pronounced in different ways by different people. And nobody pronounces the names of the Greek gods correctly anyway. So I don't think it applies to the Celestials.
Oh, good. The lion is connected to the Sapphira of Keter, the crown of God, embodying the divine essence, wisdom, and the ultimate reality. To me, it appears evident that this magnificent creature sets a profound standard for the human spirit and mind. The lion's roar echoes yet through the ages, ever loud and ferociously proud. It calls us to awaken our dormant powers and roar along with them as sovereign kings and queens, should we choose to rise to the invitation.
Wow, thank you very much. Setna started us out in ancient Egypt, and Tillie brought us further in time and in a wider area. I'm looking forward to our next presentation. Thank you very much, Tillie. That will be Nick Curto, who also proudly proclaimed himself to be a lion and convinced us all.
I literally am. I was born on July 26th, and I am a Leo for sure. And when you go down the list of everything a Leo should be, it's like bullseye. I mean, really does. Center of attention, leader, likes to work with people to bring out their very, very best, strong, very sensitive yet, helping hands to many, highly creative, protector. And turquoise happens to be my favorite color. There's something about turquoise that absolutely, it's not blue, it's turquoise, but there's something about that color that really appeals to me on a spiritual level, very strongly. I also want to add that when I was born, and people said that this could happen, I remember some of my birth. I remember that I was somehow out of a very protective place and put on a cold slab of some kind, and it was shocking and hurtful. And I remember thinking, I don't know where the protection walls are anymore, and it was very scary for me. So just to throw that in, but it was a strong thing. I've had, let me see now, a vision, very strong vision, and it goes with being a Pleiadian. And the vision I had, again, I can remember it like it was yesterday, and I was an observer, and I was standing on the side of a street in a city. The city was white on white on white. Everything was beautifully gleaming white. And I remember the people had white robes on, beautiful white robes, both the men, the women, and the children. And I remember there was this strong feeling of spirituality, a feeling of peacefulness, of love, and great respect. I observed people when they saw each other, they didn't shake hands, they did a little bow to each other. And I thought that was really respectful and quite beautiful. I found out during the vision that all the traffic, everything of vehicles of any kind were underground. And they said we would never put vehicles of any kind where people are walking. So it was a very quiet city, a very beautiful, elegant place. And also the other thing I remember, and this is kind of interesting, is sexuality. Uh, they would consider what we have now as almost vulgar compared to how they lived and dressed then. That we're very, way too sexy, very sexy now with women and men's clothes. And that would not be at all what I'm seeing the vision would have. Just kind of an interesting that was such it came on out of nowhere and it was so strong.
Wow. There must be lots of different Pleiadians, though, because some of the Pleiadians use sex appeal with the contactees to a very great degree. So just like there's a wide opinion and different opinions being held by people on our planet, there must be among the Pleiadians as well. So maybe you met some of the more prudish, maybe
Could be.
conventional, maybe traditional Pleiadians.
Well, probably there's a wide range of that, and I happen to be seeing perhaps a little more conservative version of Pleiadians. Old souls for sure, some of the oldest ever. The star cluster Taurus, a constellation, otherwise known as the Seven Sisters. Pleiadians are one of the most well-known star seed types that there are.
Yes. The Pleiades in Greek mythology too, they're the daughters of Atlas. So it's
Okay.
an Atlantean version of, like, we use the planets now to describe the stairway to heaven. Back then it was the Pleiades that we used, the Seven Sisters.
There you go. There you go. And the other thing too is Pleiadians resonate very, very strongly, love vibrations of peace and harmony. And that is part of my life. That's very important to me.
So you use the word starseed, and I've been doing something called the Olympian Starseed Initiative for decades. And there's not that many Olympian starseeds. I haven't encountered very many, but I have encountered more than a few. Lately I'm reaching out to the Leonine community. Right now they're describing them as Lyrans, but before then they were describing them as Syrians or Vegans. So the places change, just like the Venusians are pretty much Pleiadians now. The same way the Lions, they have different origin points. But I'm still active with the Olympian Starseed Initiative, and I'd welcome the perspective of even a conservative Pleiadian. Thank you very much, Nick.
Pleasure.
As always, a unique perspective, eloquently stated. Thank you.
More than welcome.
Now to the legendary one.
Who's that, Hercules?
That's you.
Well, I want to say to Nick that I don't think that the Pleiadians would ever be very offended by the way that I dress, unless they find t-shirts and blue jeans offensive.
I think you're okay. You're okay.
and I mean, even in my younger days, when I actually had some looks still about me, I dressed fairly conservatively. But I'm going to start this out today with, while I was doing my research on lions and the association with the UFO phenomena, not only lions, but just felines in general, I came across, and I kid you not, you can actually Google this and look for yourself. There is a conspiracy out there that is saying that our pet cats are, if they're not outright extraterrestrials, then they are like advanced scouts sent here to spy on us, to live amongst us, and get our trust, and basically just observe how we live our day-to-day activities. And I know a lot of people would say that sounds about right to them, because some people do find cats to be alien-like, elusive, so to speak. And you know, if you look at the, and I wish I could hold up like an illustration. There you go, Michael. I wish I could hold up an illustration and show you. But if you look at the traditional gray alien, you know, with the big head, the pointed chin, and the big eyes, it somewhat resembles a cat. Especially if you would look at, say, like maybe a Siamese cat or other breeds that are similar to Siamese, you know, because they tend to have more of a narrow head, a pointed chin, and they're, you know, the big glorious blue eyes. But So I don't know. We've got now 3 cats. Originally, we had up to 6 at one point. Unfortunately, we had a couple die over the past year, so now we're down to 3. And I tell you, if they're aliens, I'm gladly sharing my house with them, because to me, cats are an essential part of people's lives.
Mhm.
But when it comes to the UFO phenomena and cats, you don't, or lions, felines in general, you really don't hear that much about it anymore. You have more like scary species, like the reptilians or insectoids, the mantis types of creatures. And in the past, there have actually been references to cat-like, lion-like extraterrestrials. And as both Michael and Tillie were pointed out, there is a long history of like divine beings with feline types of characteristics. And I ran across, it's the second book of Samuel in the Old Testament talks about a valiant warrior who killed 2 Ariels. That's what they're called, 2 Ariels of Moab. Now, the translation of Ariel is lion men, or lion-like men. But again, the translation from ancient Hebrew to Greek to to English at times can suffer. But the word Ariel, it's completely different than the Hebrew word for lion, and it's been pointed out that the word Ariel, Ariel, it's that el at the end that makes it special, indicates that the lion men of Moab probably had some kind of divine connection. And again, we see that throughout history when it comes to the UFO phenomena and the connections with the divine, or beings from the sky. But in the 1950s, when you had the beginning of the UFO contactee era, you had several groups that, especially in Europe and South America, that the motif, I suppose is how you pronounce it, of their groups was lion heads. And these groups supposedly developed on their own without any connection with each other, yet these alleged extraterrestrials use the lion head as their representative, or the representation of their contacts with Earth. And again, we don't hear a lot about this because, unfortunately, whole research of ufology, especially the early days, was very westernized and focused on that, and we haven't gotten a lot of information over the years of some of these more diverse encounters from different parts of the world, especially South America, but some of these other ones in Europe. One of these groups, it was a splinter group of the UMO contacts, which has been pretty much declared a hoax. But some of the South American splinter groups took on the lion head as their representation of their contacts with these extraterrestrial beings. Not necessarily saying that the beings that they were in contact with had lion-like characteristics. And as Hercules pointed out, there are allegedly in some of these writings about the various kinds of alleged alien races that are in contact with planet Earth, one of them being lion-headed types of extraterrestrials. Which brings me to an interesting story that happened in 1954 in Italy. Now, 1954, it's interesting because there was a big UFO and alien or extraterrestrial flap that was occurring in France and Italy at the time, where over a period of just a couple of months, there were mass UFO landings with people seeing mostly small beings dressed in suits and big helmets and things like that. That's kind of where we get the whole, little green men from Mars was this 1954 flap. But in Italy, there was a 40-year-old woman by the name of Rosa Danelli. And she was actually on her way. It was what day was it? It was like a feast day in the Catholic Church that day, November 1st, 1954. And she was going to visit the church and was carrying a bunch of carnations that was destined for the altar of the Madonna. At the same time, she was carrying her shoes and her stockings because the path was somewhat muddy and she didn't want to get her shoes and stockings messed up. Well, as she was going along this footpath, she came across this landed craft that she said looked like two cones stuck on top of each other, or two bells stuck on top of each other. It had like a little glass dome on it with a small door, and there were two beings that were outside of this craft that were collecting plants and stuff. And she said that these things were small, about the size of children, but fully formed, like just tiny adults. And that their facial characteristics, she said, reminded her of cats. They had kind of like a split in their upper lip, and then their mouths were curved up, so it almost looked like that they had like a perpetual smile. They weren't furry or anything like that, but she said that she just had the impression that they were cat-like. But these beings were extremely friendly. She said that they were laughing and attempted to communicate with her. But at one point, and she, naturally enough, with no knowledge about the UFO phenomena, was, pretty scared. And at one point, they snatched the flowers, the carnations, from her hands and her stockings, and proceeded to wrap the carnations in the stockings and throw them inside their craft. Well, she was honked off by this and actually admonished what she thought was the leader. And he actually removed two of the carnations from the craft and gave them back to her before they got into the craft and flew away. So this is probably, and there's been other reports of people having encounters with landed UFOs, and the beings had cat-like characteristics, but. Again, it's interesting that these reports have kind of gone to the wayside. I suppose it's more that people like to be scared, and the whole idea of reptilians or insectoids is a lot more appealing to those who are thinking that we're dealing with unpleasant visitors from other planets, rather than friendly flower stealers, cat-like flower stealers. But that's my story for the day, Hercules. And if anybody is interested, there's if you try to Google the whole UFO occupants that look like cats or lions, unfortunately Google seems to be set up so it only spits out reports from over the last couple of years. So it's a lot more difficult to find some of these more historical types of stories unless you have the names. But there's all kinds of great books out there that have been written over the years that are definitely a better reference point for these types of encounters. So I'm going to leave it at that, Hercules, and we'll leave room for Marc and Phyllis to come in.
Yes, thank you, Tim. As always, that was very chock full of information, and it was provocative. And now I'm curious to find out about the UMO connection, because if that was a hoax, that was a phenomenally elaborate and and long-running hoax.
It was very, very elaborate. Yes.
Involved all sorts of people and all sorts of higher levels of government, and I'd be interested in if you can steer me in the right direction for the people who took the lion's head as a symbol for aliens. I'd love to look into that much further.
Be happy to, Hercules.
Thank you very much.
That was good.
Now we have Marc and Phyllis.
Well, you have Marc.
Oh, we have Marc, no Phyllis. Wow. Not
Yes, I hear
Phyllis's
that.
hand or Phyllis's foot or Phyllis's voice. Well, tell us she's missed.
She's far away.
Oh, okay.
It's another room. Oh, sorry.
And Marc is the incarnate alien among us, and he's a walk-in, and he has a unique perspective, which I'm looking forward to hearing about the lion beings.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them, and I remember the stories. Tim and I know all those ancient 50s and 40s stories. When you were describing it, I could see those beings and lady yelling, with her stockings. Imagine if she was carrying catnip. See, they're benevolent. Those ones, they were about 3 feet, right? Almost 3 or 4 feet tall. That's about it, right? That's what I remembered.
Yes, that's correct, Marc.
Something like that. And they had the helmet and all that, but no mask
Right.
faces.
No, they just had a helmet, and she said that she couldn't see their ears because of the helmets.
Yeah, that I'm glad you brought that one up. You forget about them after a while, then you remember them from the 50s and the stories. And I have an old book from the 70s that actually has some of the pictures, the paintings they made from them. Maybe you have it too. I don't know. It's an encyclopedia type book, but it was all on aliens. And that's probably where I first saw George Van Tassel's information. So my story is I'm from the 12th plane. I know people don't know what that means, and it doesn't mean a plane, but most people know about 1 through 7 of planet Earth. But I've traversed those. But I come from the 12th area as an over higher self expression, let's say, or focus point, as they say on the spaceships. And my oversoul, or like our oversouls, are on these places on those high planes. And up there, you don't normally look like a cat person, but if you feel like it that day, you can look like one. If you feel to manifest that look, if you've been in that expression or as a life form in another time. Since on the high planes, everything's happening at once to us on those levels. Our oversouls know where we are as aspects or focus points throughout the entire omniverse. And there's many different forms of us as the oversoul projection, which can branch itself off. But the high oversoul, the true self, that which was created when Creator created us, that one knows all of what we're all doing. And when I was given that metaphor, like I was a teenager, of a giant salt shaker, that's your oversoul or true self, pure self, original self, / And in the salt shaker is the salts, representing all of us as focus points or aspects throughout the omniverse, all at once. And when 1 grain of salt in the shaker is us right now on Earth, one of us, like that. And that's the way that they gave me that metaphor to talk to people, to say, this is kind of what it's like. But that oversoul, that true self, that salt shaker, knows where all of us are at once. So when we have people have intuition or they have meditated and they feel, and I had a consultation with a friend this past week, and she's a cat person in her memory as true. And I saw it.
A leonine extraterrestrial or a cat person in like
No,
Tim?
extraterrestrial, a human here on Earth. And she'll probably get a kick that I'm mentioning this. But she actually recalls and remembers clearly. And when I saw her, she was a white lion. And I'm, you know, with the wings, with the wings.
The manes, yeah.
And she came from another galaxy as that being. So they were visiting Earth many gazillions of years ago. So the name of that galaxy, which I promised to tell her, so she'll hear it, is Shalnalan. Shalnalan. And I spelled it for them, Shalnalon. So it's a galaxy about 600 and change. This is the cruise of when we talk about it, about 650 light years or so, million light years from Earth right now. So there's a galaxy out there that probably is called M28 or something, but it's that galaxy. So when she told me how she feels the presence of the wings, and I told her the reason you're feeling that is because it's happening all at once on the highest levels and high planes, and she could feel it because she's attuned to it. So many people who say, well, I feel like I'm a Palladian, or I feel like I'm a Martian. It's connecting to that frequency of their own aspect form. And I've met other aspects of myself on the ships. So when you hug each other, you know each other's life. You know everything about each other because it's you in other aspected forms, the true self. And you male or female doesn't matter, or whatever frequency of they have on their planet system or other places. And we're talking dimensions too, not just this physical dense reality. So a lot of these beings that look like lions or cat people, and one of my favorite friends is Commander Bial Al-Aruk. This is an actual being, and he's from the they call themselves an Alran race, and their solar system area is Zabran from the constellation Cassiopeia, past that constellation. So when we talk about Pleiadians and all these Pleiadians or whatever names they want to give themselves, we're looking at the constellation of Pleiades, but each star is bazillions of miles from each other.
That is a good point. And one
behind them are other star systems way over there. So we're looking at it, and we as crew, when we talk to people on planet systems, they will point to that constellation and say, we come from that area or that constellation area, not directly that star, but systems and solar systems behind them with other star systems. So that when the Pleiadians are saying, I come from that area of Pleiades, I'm Pleiadian, they're saying, well, we come from that general direction and we'll call ourselves that. But on their planets, they're calling themselves what they feel. It's not all the Pleiadians are as friendly as everybody thinks. So they're not all Palladian, the friendly ones. Some of them are tricksters too, and they come to work with our people in the governments. So they don't know everything, and they are physicals like us. They pretend they know everything, but they don't. They just know, and they're scientific, but they won't talk to you about anything about creation or anything because they really don't understand. So they're just like Earth people, but a little more advanced, like a couple 100,000 years or so. But you see how we know what they do on those higher planes. We've seen and watched them. And when I visited areas like that, I saw what they do. And I was like, wow. Now they come to visit Billy Meyer.
Yes, the Pleiadians is calling them now.
And they're not all
with some
on target with how creation works. So they're spreading, to me, they're spreading falsehoods, but that's what they know. They're saying what they say. They know what they know. That's it.
Tim and I recently had a conversation, and again, the constellation thing is something that gnawed at me for a very long time, because those constellations are pictures that we made up. Back when we believed that the heavens were fixed, they were fixed, and then the planets were between the starry sky and the Earth, and they each had a band around the Earth, and so the constellations are based on our imaginations projected outwards. So when modern ETs are telling people they're from these constellations, the constellations don't exist except in our imagination. That's how we connected the dots in the sky and told
Right.
stories.
And they observe everything here. They
Thank you.
monitor it all. So you know that they'll say that which you expect.
Yes.
You know, so my crew, when I was about 9 years old, was looking at the Orion's belt. And they said, well, don't look at that area too long because you'll draw those entities towards you. And I said, what kind of entities? I was thinking, nice guy. No, there's both. They said they're good and there's other ones. So, and they said stick towards the Big Dipper area to look. So it's funny how when Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they used the spaceships formed the Big Dipper. And I thought, because I know those are good people coming from those directions. Again, it's not the constellation, it's star systems behind it. But because they understand how we think, they study us. They say, see that area up there? You call the Pleiades or you call the Big Dipper. We come from that direction. And Bootes, that's another one. Bootes, Bootes. That's another area that tall beings come from. Big giant 12-footers and change and more, 20-footers and all. But benevolent. Some of the Arcturians that are from those areas. That's the constellation Arcturus with Bootes. And that's, unless we got more to say.
No, that's more than enough. And again, I'm sorry for interrupting your presentation. It's just that some things need to be said, and you said it.
True.
So I was very happy. That is one of the maybe this isn't the real story here. Maybe there's another story behind it. And I misspoke. Tim is the only person among us who is openly extraterrestrial and presents himself as such. Nick identified himself as a starseed. Setna is definitely not from this world, and nor am I, for that matter. I've always felt that this reality was a dream.
Everybody in my whole life knew I was alien, including my parents. And before they died, they admitted it again to me. They said, thanks for coming in and choosing our family to come into, because everybody before and after me were miscarriages. So it's kind of interesting the way it worked. But I remember everything.
Yeah, I'm not a walk-in. I'm a wanderer, though. I was born into, there's all not genetic in laboratories, but selective reading. That's how it is in the myths. And in our conversation with Tim on another show, we had talked about how in the Chaldean oracles, Hecate, the goddess, says, we look and behave this way because you expect us to. And thank you for bringing up that point also. You weren't part of that conversation, but thank you for bringing up the point.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me.
This is quite a bunch of information to digest, start piecing together. In full disclosure, this conversation I had with my theurgists yesterday, actually, or the day before, and the theurgists tackle this question of the lions and their significance in theurgy and other ancient religions and occult systems. And a week from now, I'm having this conversation with Star Trek fans who identify with the aliens on the TV show. So you have Star Trek fans who are Haitians, they're called, like Haitians but with a C, on Star Trek, are the cat people. And you have people taking on the personas of cat people, and they're going to talk about the cats in Star Trek mythology. And out of these conversations, some of the same patterns are emerging. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go. And Brian is not available to us today. But lion people are very much a part of our popular culture as well, especially in cartoons and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see what information comes to us through the popular culture, because as Tim has pointed out, and as we've discussed before, popular culture has a greater influence on the paranormal studies than we've given it credit for. As Tim's pointed out, if you really want to understand the reptilian phenomenon, watch V. And that, a lot of it came from there, and a lot of it came from Robert E. Howard and Lovecraft, who had a correspondence, and they both used this mythos pretty extensively. Does anyone have anything they would like to add to tonight's conversation?
Well, Hercules, I'll bring something up. You know, you're talking about pop culture, and there is a series of books called the Ring World trilogy, written by Larry Niven. And one of the species that is represented in this book is called the Kizan. And these creatures are cat-like, very big and very fierce warriors. And the interesting thing about it is that they were actually, at least one of the members of this species was represented in an episode of the animated Saturday morning version of Star Trek. You know, only old geeks like me would probably remember that. But it was just interesting that they actually took this cat creature and from a series of novels and brought them into a Saturday morning cartoon. And again, you know, we've talked before about how, especially when it comes to the possibility that the powers that be have been teaching kids to accept the idea of extraterrestrial life through pop culture, like Saturday morning cartoons, when there was Saturday morning cartoons. I'm aging myself saying that. And so it makes you wonder, you know, whether or not something like this is an effort to show us that there are all kinds of different types of intelligent species, you know, out there that we would find somewhat familiar, but somewhat different. You know, somewhat familiar being that we have felines here. So, I mean, are there feline species, intelligent feline species, you know, out there in the great beyond, you know, not only from other planets, but from other realities as well?
Yeah, they're from different dimensional planes as well.
Yeah.
It's a horse-like species out there too that some people saw a couple of years back, I guess. Kids were downstairs in the playroom where they had the curtains drawn with doors that open up like that, onto a deck, but they were under a deck, and they heard something outside. So one of the boys went over and peeked out of the curtains, and there, they put with the light from their rooms that they were in, was a creature about 7 feet tall, ducking down like he was sneaking around, and he had the horse's face coming down and the neck going back, but he had a spacesuit on. And he had hands. It's like the cat people do. They have hands too. And he had, or paw hands. The lions have a paw hand, like the dog people have a paw hand. And he had the hocks as well, like on a horse. And he was tilting over and he was like, whoa. But he didn't get scared, but he kind of like, I can get out of here. And he walked off off to their lawn. But that was a fascinating one, because I've seen these horse-like being people, and they're really interesting looking. Really,
that reminds me of the New Jersey Devil, actually. What you're talking about, Mark?
Yeah.
I do wonder if there could be lots of different types of humanoid people who maybe they do come from the stars, or maybe it is more organic and it's from a different dimension, a slightly different dimension, and they can come in here for a while. That's my own theory.
Yeah, Jersey Devil's great. It's really like a dragon mix, the Jersey Devil. When the people have described it, it's always looking horsey-like faced, but then it has a white face with a scaly effect. And one man found, he went to a barn on somebody's property that he knew, or his property or something in the back. And it was in one of those barns that nobody's using. And he went back there and he went in, he had a feeling to go back into the back of the barn, and there was a drawing on the door, entrance to a door, no door was there, of a sketch of the Jersey Devil, like in chalk or pencil. And he thought, oh, so he had his flashlight, and he went, peeked in the back into that room, and he heard a hiss noise. And when he aimed his flashlight up, it was the Jersey Devil. Like
Wow.
this is his space. He was whoever had that barn, let that creature be there. It was like his house or something. He was like standing there and he made noise, but he stared at him. And the man just backed off and let him go. But it didn't attack him. I've still not read a story where Jersey Devils attacked a human. Maybe there is one out there, but the creature has been seen in modern times, even walking on the paths in Jersey. I went to those Barrens area, but didn't see anything. But people are seeing things out there, and he comes up from a tree.
Right.
We have to start wrapping up.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Tillie, I was just trying to. Yeah, the Jersey Devil is like a dragon-looking creature.
Bringing back.
I've read different stories. I wonder if there are multiple.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's got to be a few of them.
So we'll start with Tillie. How can people contact you?
Oh, absolutely. So if they'd like to reach me directly, they can email me at talktillitome@gmail.com. If they would like to reach The Weird Walk Home, which is the show that Tim and I created on YouTube, they can just email theweirdwalkhome@gmail.com. And of course, the show is available for free on YouTube. So that's that. But I do have a really neat announcement, if I may, for just a moment.
Of course you may.
Sure. I've just signed an individual book deal with Tim and Zontar Press for some short fiction stories. It's going to be paranormal, as far as I know, fiction, but still based on what we understand currently about the paranormal and non-human people and how they interact with human people, and nice philosophical twists in there as well. And I'm really excited about that. So maybe keep an eye out for that. Hopefully by October 1st, it'll be up and available. I'm working with an illustrator right now to get everything rolling. I've already got some of it written, and I have to say that I'm pretty happy with myself.
We're happy with you too, and for you. And when the book is ready to come out, we'll devote a show to it, and I'll promote it.
Absolutely. If you wish, yes.
I definitely wish.
Yes, sir.
Setna of Khemet, how can people contact you and hook into your world?
Okay, well, as you know, on Facebook, you can get me at Michael K. Waterman, or for my work and my services and such, you can get me on Phone a Wizard on Facebook. You can reach me by mkwaterman@icloud.com. You can reach me by address if you wish to, which is 1699 Chatham, Chatham Parkway, apartment or number 1523A, Savannah, Georgia, 34105. You can get me through you, and you can also get me on my phone. After all, I am the phone wizard. So 516-650-3691. I was a Long Islander. I have not given up my phone number. I have too many contacts where I could do that. But those are the ways you can reach me easiest.
And you just launched the Pernateru Temple, and you're creating stabs and other magical implements from throughout.
I have stabs, I have ushabtis, I have what they call pocket spells, which are kind of fun, little things that going on, and I am teaching classes. You will also be able to get hold of me through my 800 number very soon also. I'm working with Verizon, if I can say that, to create that. I was going to say we had one more little cartoon character we forgot, which was the Thundercats, which were, they were a cat race of people. So meow power, you know?
There you go. And the Zinti wound up having their own book series called The Man-Zin Wars, and they appeared in Star Trek Live. I forget which show it was on also. So they took life from where Niven originally put them.
Stop calling me.
What happened?
No, nothing. It's okay.
Okay. Tim Swartz, the legendary one. How can people enter your world?
Yeah, you can find all of my books on Amazon.com. Just type in my name, Tim R. Swartz, and they'll all come tumbling out for your reading pleasure. You can also find some of them at your favorite local bookstore or library, and I encourage everyone to please patronize both. I am also the co-host on the radio show The Paracast with Gene Steinberg, and you can find that at the website theparacast.com. Very simple. And I'll also say that we've got a title for our new book that should be coming out sometime probably in the next month, and it's called Weird Time: Exploring the Mysteries of Time and Space. And Hercules, Tillie, Michael all have chapters in this book. So when it is published, I encourage everyone to get out and read the chapters from your favorite guest here on the Hercules Show.
Thank you.
The cosmic lions are called enigmatically in their lore the keepers of time.
How
Very
fitting is
fitting.
Nick the lion. How can people touch with you and your various projects?
Okay, well, I'm the director and the co-founder of Disclosure Network New York. Our website is www.dnny.org, and my email, my personal email, certainly if you have any questions or comments, I would welcome that. And that email address is NICKNYNY1, that's the numeral 1 @gmail.com. I'm very excited about the fact that we're starting to look at presenting a weekend here in New York City in the fall for the whole question of Disclosure Network, ET, UFO contact. And we're working right now to try to find the right venue. And then we're going to be working on programs. And this is very exciting because in New York City, we haven't had anything like this in recent memory. And that's got to be fixed. And now is the time to do it. So my organization is beginning to work on that very exciting project. And I would like to have that ongoing every year. So here we go, and wish me luck.
Good luck. If anybody can make it happen, it's you. Thank you very much, Nick. And last but not least, Marc without Phyllis.
Marc with Phyllis. She's back in the living room, but you can shout. Okay. Well, you can reach us or me at Marc_Brinkerhoff or Marc.
No,
I got two different ones.
Just Marc.
Okay, Marc_Brinkerhoff@yahoo.com. And that's on our website, intergalacticmission.com, and also etuniversalzone.com, and also marcbrinkerhoff.com is my art website. And Facebook is just me, Marc Brinkerhoff. And then YouTube.
MARC.
It's MARC like cat. Yes. And what else have we got there?
So YouTube and Facebook, that's good enough.
Yeah, and we're finishing our book pretty soon, so keep pushing things around, and I'm working on illustrations. So that's basically
Which of the books? You're working on several, I understand.
Yeah, we're working on Sananda's Messages, which is having come out first with some of our symbols in it. The omniversal symbols will be in that book. This is what he's asked. So we're putting that number one. Then second will be in a omniversal book, or
I think
Nature Spirits.
The Nature Kingdom.
Yeah, the Nature Spirit book, which is Fairy Reality. And so we have a website, fairyreality.com.
I don't have anything
but
up.
nothing's on it right now because we're putting things into the book to make illustration. I got more illustrations of Pan, who is, as you know, he told me to tell people this in 1976. I'm an archangel. I'm not a made-up creature or any of that, and he's not mischievous, and he's not any of that. Neither is the little fawns who are Nature Kingdom
Being blamed.
and they're being blamed for negative things, like crazy stuff. So I have his actual drawing. I'm working on him. He has the archangel form of his face, what he looks like, and his I don't have the picture here, but the,
Yeah, but I don't
and
show that
the
one.
way I saw him in 1976, 20 some odd feet tall in the fields, and he talked with me and it was winter. And I drew the picture back a long time ago, 1983. But Phyllis, we took it down. Off of
Yeah,
our
I
other thing.
figured it
Okay.
all down.
Well, you can see some of our fairies and illustrations on cafepress.com/brink art. If you go, you'll find the fairies and the elementals. Our nature spirits are in the drawings. I put them in Eflin the elf and all these others. But we had Pan in there, but we took them down for a while. Okay. I think that's how you reach us.
Thank you very much. And Phyllis, great to hear your voice as
Yeah, great to
we
hear yours.
wrap up for the day.
And Nick.
And after I finish this series on lions and on sword and sandal superheroes from outer space and with strange science, then I'm bringing back mythic monsters. So we'll be talking about modern day and ancient sightings of what are now called cryptids,
Yes.
which were once called fabulous beasts, and they haven't gone anywhere, just like the gods haven't gone anywhere, or the fairies haven't gone anywhere. They're all still here, and it's a good thing. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you very much, everyone. I'm very blessed that we can pull this together every month and share our collective explorations with each other and with our audience. And I wish you all the best and success in all your endeavors.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Right back at
Thank you.
Much
Blessings.
love to
Good
all.
night.
Much love.
Nice seeing you all, Michael and everybody, Tim and Tillie, Nick.